And let's start with the first unit I feel like should have been very dominant, and that is Easy LR INT Fusion Zamasu. Now, don't get me wrong, he is very good. I'm not going to trash on him like everyone else is, or at least to an extent the community is. I still think he's a strong unit. I mean, you got 3.6 million defense and 60% damage reduction after taking some hits and supering. That is very strong. You're not going to die with that. But my main issue is going to be, of course, well, multiple things. One, he gets in slot 1, he's dead. If he gets locked in slot 1, he has nothing to protect him. If there's an AOE that comes, he only has 300k defense and 30% damage reduction before attacking and everything else happening to him. That's just not strong. If these, like, there's bosses, I mean, we have Rose. It's so, this EZA is so untimely because the hardest fight currently, this video is made before the new fights drop, but currently the strongest fight is Rose and Zamasu, and their main gimmick is locking in AOEs. So they're going to release a LR EZA that's weak to AOEs and locking. It's just, he doesn't have to be a slot 1 unit, but he needs to be a unit that can somehow get out of at least the AOEs. The locking's fine. Look, there's plenty of units who can get caught by locking and die. That's fine. But if this unit with AOE though, like, losing the AOE is not good. Those attacks are not strong enough for you to be worried about. And Fusion Zamasu, you're definitely going to be worried about with that. So I'm just a little worried about this unit overall and how the metas could shift. He's not going to age very well. And my other issue, of course, is going to be the main fact that he needs to dodge, and he has no dodge in his kit. It's just like, it's so weird. Like, we're having you rely on hidden potential dodge in order for you to activate his kit. It can be hit or dodge, but you definitely want to dodge. You don't want to take a hit with only 30% damage reduction. So, I don't know. It just seems like a little flawed design in this kit, and they could have given it more. But I mean, he's still good. I just feel like he could have been better. Alright, the next unit I want to look at is STR SSB Vegeta. A lot of people probably already cringe when I mention this unit because he just doesn't feel anniversary level when he can't take AoEs, he can't take locking, he could die even post super if you don't get enough supers or orbs for him to be strong. But I definitely think this unit is like one simple change away from being good. Again, he doesn't have to be like Fusion Zamasu. He can be a pure, like a real slot 2 or slot 3 unit. That's fine. But he needs to be able to at least take an AoE, especially if you're an anniversary level EZA or LR. So all they have to do is something very simple. Is they could, after he performs 6 super attacks, change that from damage reduction to guard. And that might seem like a downgrade a little bit, but you got to realize the fact that, first of all, it helps avoid the type of disadvantage in any scenario. Plus, I'm pretty sure guard's way better than 30% damage reduction, so it'd be a buff at least in the tanking department as well. And then you gotta remember, every attack he's doing, he's getting damage reduction anyways. So if you get, let's say, 6 orbs, right, you're gonna get, what is that, 3, like 5 attacks. So you're gonna have 35% damage reduction guard and like a million or something defense post super. That's just gonna be a lot better, in my opinion, when you're building that damage reduction up for these end of the fights. You also could say, why not change the crit? But I doubt they're going to give him 30% damage reduction off of 6 supers and then guard off of 7 supers. He just needed guard at some point in his kit, and he would have been so much better in protection against AoEs. He'd still be susceptible to locking, but that's okay. He's not going to be perfect. But I feel like such a small change like that would make him a way stronger unit right now. Alright, next we're going to talk about Tech 2% and Blue Kaioken Goku. Of course, his main issue is going to be the HP loss, so quickly you just remove that and you'd be fine. But I think his next thing as well is, I don't like how low his dodge chance is turn 1. It wasn't that big of an issue when he released because the meta we were in didn't really matter. Like, he could tank all those guys. It wasn't that big of an issue. But now that we're in this new meta, he's not tanking these guys turn 1. There's no way. These guys hit way too hard right away. And the boss rush fight, they don't really hit hard till about turn 3, but still, it's still too quick for this unit to be relevant. And again, if you just started off base with 70% damage reduction, and let's just say he revives, right? He revives and then gets like another 10% dodge. He has like 80% dodge in his kit. I feel like it'd be so much better. And it just would allow him to be so much more relevant in today's meta than he is right now. His damage, it's whatever. I don't really care. If he didn't lose HP and he had 80% dodge, a lot of people's perspective would change on this unit. Of course, he's a Kaioken unit, so they want to see him hit hard. But if he's still good, who cares, right? So overall, I just feel like this unit has so much potential. They definitely under-delivered. And there's just such minute changes they can do to this unit that would make him like a top 5 TUR in this game. So it's just really annoying to see that with this unit. Another unit a lot of people were frustrated with, being kind of underwhelming, is LR Fizz Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. A fan favorite unit, of course, and his animations are very good, but the issue is he's just not that good. During the anniversary, you could get away with him being on your team. He could handle about the strongest bosses, about his cap onto how much he could handle. He was already taking some damage against these hard bosses, but again, he was barely staying alive in these fights. Now that these bosses have increased their damage by, I don't know, almost 2 million, he's too weak. He's too weak defensively now to even handle what he can do. Of course, yes, you could say, well, he got a really good fight in that Rose and Zamasu fight. He has all those supers going out. He has good active damage against the Rose. Sure, but if he gets supered against the building Rose, he's dead. He just doesn't have enough defense to handle these super high super attacks. But the biggest change, I feel like all would need to be needed. Maybe he still isn't good in short content, and that's fine. But if after turn 5, he kept all of his supers, right? All he does is get that defensive boost that he gets on turn 5, and gets to keep all of his super attacks that he gets from his intro, he would be so much better. Like, I don't understand the point of giving him only these super attacks for 4 turns. Like, it just seems so unnecessary to hold back on this unit for that reason, because that would have made him, like, he would probably be on the lower end of the top 10 LRs, maybe. He might still not even be a top 10 LR, but he would still be a very strong unit if he was able to reach around 4 to 5 mil defense post-super, have guard, and the 20% damage reduction. He just ends up being so much better if you can keep that intro. Another unit a lot of people loved on his release and just did not deliver the way they wanted them to was AGL Ginyu. On his release, he wasn't terrible. Again, with the meta we had, he actually was pretty good. But again, the meta has shifted very quickly. We did not have this level of power creep last year, so it's kind of crazy to see how quickly these bosses got stronger. And with these units just barely being enough to handle the recent meta that we had for the 10th anniversary, a lot of these guys who were like just enough then are no longer enough now. And Ginyu is one of those units, right? He only stacks defense in base, and it's just the regular base stack. It's not a great big stack. Ginyu in base needs to stack greatly, and then have a regular stack to attack in base. Then you have Ginyu just stack the attack greatly in Goku Ginyu. And on top of that, Ginyu should not have 50% chances to super. He needs guaranteed supers. This unit should not be so restricted to just Ginyu Force and then have all these weird stipulations to it. If he's going to be a niche unit, make him broken. Especially because he's clearly built for these long fights to build up and whatever. That's fine. But my biggest issue is, of course, going to be the fact that if he's going to be only able to be used on one team, make him broken, because clearly you can't use him anywhere else. Alright, let's talk about another unit that people were very excited to see, but he definitely did not deliver, and that is the STR Goku / Gohan. This unit definitely deserved to be a lot better than he was. The base form is just not great. That's the biggest issue with this unit. Of course, if you can survive and get to the Gohan side of the card, they're okay. I mean, they're still not dominant, but they're enough to be able to handle these bosses. Of course, now the bosses got stronger, and they're definitely struggling a lot more with them, but I just feel like the Goku base form needs a ton more to be relevant. 70% dodge is not going to cut it unless they were going to give him that 59% attacking defense infinitely. Remember when his details came out, everyone started flipping out like, oh my gosh, he gets 59% attacking defense per dodge he does? Holy crap, this unit's going to be broken. If that was the case, he would be a very strong unit. He does not. He only gets that once you dodge, he gets it once and that's it. So if you're going to give him 70% dodge, that should have been infinite. But in all honesty, they probably weren't going to do that. He should have 80% dodge at least in his base form just to keep him alive, because his defense is not high enough to be able to handle these very strong attacks. And then again, once you're dying with Goku so much, you're not going to run the unit anymore, and the Goku's really not strong enough to carry you into Gohan unless you get pretty lucky. So overall, again, this unit just isn't enough. I feel like some dodge, of course, would change that unit significantly. They could make the Gohan a little bit tankier, but again, I just feel like the base form's a main issue with this unit, and that's just the problem right now with this guy and why you probably aren't using him right now. Alright, the final unit I want to talk about is PHY Daima Vegeta. He is a lot better right now because of his unique equips, but it still doesn't mean that he's the most dominant he could have been. His kit is so simple. It is like slot 1 or don't use metal, essentially, right? But I feel like he should still have some protection just in case he gets locked out of slot 1. in order to just not flat out die. Right, of course, against AGL, next to AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku, he's still fine. Not in slot 2 or slot 3, but in slot 1, he's great, especially with the unique equips. He's not dying too much, even against these new bosses. But all they had to do with this unit is give him unconditional guard, and that's it. And I know that's the most lazy one I've talked about with these recent ones, like just give him a dodge, or I didn't say it, and I was going to say it, but Fusion Zamasu should have got dodge before attacking per Rainbow Orb he got. But Daima Vegeta should just have just unconditional guard. Because here's the thing, if you only can run him in slot 1, right, make him broken in slot 1, right, guard, 70% damage reduction, he's unkillable in slot 1, makes him great. But of course, there are mechanics that can hurt him. If he gets locked out of slot 1 and there's AOEs, he becomes a liability. So they shouldn't make it where he's good in slot 1, but like, he can be kind of caught, but outside of slot 1, he's complete fodder. That's not how the unit design should be. He should be great in slot 1, and he should be good in slot 2. Not broken, good in slot 2, and all you had to do is just slap on guard on him, and this unit would be a slam dunk. But again, a part of me feels like they kind of held back on the mini Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta because they're going to go crazy on the adult one, so we'll see. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. If you guys think these units on this list definitely deserve to be here. I definitely expect some people to kind of talk about Fusion Zamasu a little bit here, but again, it's not really shade against him because I think he is strong, but he's not dominant because, again, with all these boss mechanics coming out, he's just not super strong in the ability of dominating the meta, like team protection mechanics or slot 1 units or whatever, right? Again, pre-super, this guy is complete fodder. Post-super, and he gets all of his damage reduction in the turn, he's great. He should have had dodge in his kit somewhere, whether before attacking or somewhere there should be some baseline dodge. He should not be relying on hidden potential dodge in order to get that damage reduction. So, overall, let me know what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed this voice content, the first link is going to be all to my voice content. The second one is going to be to all my Dokkan Battle videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.